Hello there, well my name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Sorry, I moved the camera slightly. Yes, so today we're going to make a Scrungie Extreme. Now, the ones I've made so far have been very basic and that's great. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make a sort of extreme one with all the add-ons that we could use. I've got a knitting needle for turning inside out, a string to also assist me with the turning inside out. I've got some elastic and I have a piece of fabric, and I'm going to go with quite a thick piece of fabric and then quite a thin piece of fabric. So I'm going to cut 3 inches strips. Again, that's what we, you know, that's kind of a manageable size. Any smaller and it's going to be a bit tricky. Now for the outer body, I'm going to make the strips slightly larger, so I'm going to go for sort of 12 inches. Let me grab my tape measure just to check that. Any much bigger than that and it would just be a bit of a pain. So I'm going to go for 12 and a half inches, I'm afraid. I'm such a liar. There we go. And again, I'm going to use 3 inches wide, so, and I'm just going to trim that up there. Lovely. Now, I'm also going to use bunny ears because, well, they're in fashion, you know, that's all there is to say, and they are kind of cute. So with my other piece of fabric here, which is probably 5 inches by 10 inches. So I'm going to fold it over and then I'm going to fold it over again. And I can draw a little bunny ear just in pencil. But I can put them up on Facebook if you like. But it really is. I'm going to go to the outside edge and then I'm going to come in slightly, but not all that much. I don't want it so it's difficult to turn inside out. And then we can unfold that. And we've got not quite a dog bone, but sort of a dog bone. Okay, so I've got all my bits cut out. I've got my sewing machine here all set up ready to go, and I'm going to do this in stages rather than do it all in one. So what we need to do is we need to fold this fabric so that we've got 2 panels, and you can see I've got the seam down the centre there. Yeah, so it's kind of in a tube, and then I'm going to fold it over so we've got like a W shape. I've got my fabric here on the right side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this 4 folded M shape of fabric at an angle to the black fabric for now, and then I'm going to sew on, and then I'm going to just adjust it slightly and pull it over, so I've now got the seams together. Now I am sewing at 1/4 of an inch, so I am sewing very close to the edge. And there's no reason why you can't do a pattern and go in and out or not. I'm not. So we're coming up towards the end here. And I'm just checking every now and again that I've got all 4 bits of fabric and I'm actually catching the seam of the fabric, so that I know that I'm sewing everything in the right place. And I've just sewn off the end of the loop here. So I've sort of stretched it round. So what I'm left with is the corner there, and then I've pulled it on and then I've pulled it off. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's just to keep my ends nice and tidy. Okay, so now I've got this piece of fabric. I'm going to fold it over and hopefully I will be able to see the back piece of fabric whilst I'm sewing, and this just means that I've got everything. It's just like a real reassuring sight. Now, to make it easier to turn inside out, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a piece of string in that fold. Now, this is optional, and if it's more hassle than it's worth, then don't do it. I just find it so much easier. I have a lot of trouble turning things inside out. So that's on the fold, folding over. Again, I'd like to see the back piece of the black fabric just whilst I'm doing it. And I'm going to tuck that over there and just put a couple of stitches in there. Now, the reason I'm doing that is just to hold it securely so that when it does come time to turn it inside out, it's nice and easy. So, all I need to do now is I need to sew these two together, and I also need to sew on a piece of elastic. Now, you can do this in 2 stages. I don't think you can't. So, I'm going to leave my needle down. I'm going to place my elastic so it comes over and stitches onto it. Now, I've put my elastic at a slight angle. This is so that I know that I catch it. And now that it's literally in the sewing machine, the needle's down, it's on the elastic, I can then pull it taut. So, foot down. And yes, I am sewing black elastic on black cloth, and so it does make it a bit trickier. I can actually hear the difference in tone when I'm hitting the elastic. Now, because we've used slightly longer than we normally do, I've got the elastic at a lot more tension, so... just lining it all up so that I've got all 4 bits to sew, because I have to keep the red bit showing, the elastic and the back of the main body panel. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end now, and I'll check that that's not turning up. Lovely. No reason, just done a couple of reverse stitches just to make life easier for me. Okay. Now I'm going to check that I've actually managed to hit both sides of the fabric. It's just so much easier to sort it out now than it is later. And I'm going to trim off the original red at this end. Okay. Yeah, wish me luck here. I'm going to fold over the top of the end with the string at the opposite end, and I'm going to use the knitting needle just to push and give it a good start, and hopefully everything will just unreel and come round the right way. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I get a bit overzealous and I push the whole knitting needle through. And sometimes I pull this piece of string out as well because I just tug it too hard. So we have quite a lot of fabric to turn inside out, and we don't want to sort of ruin it. And obviously we've got the elastic that's sort of pulling it one way and we're pulling it another. So yeah, such is life. But once you've sort of got it started, then we can just use this piece of string and hopefully we can pull it all out. And yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so what I'm doing now is between my thumb and my forefinger, I'm just sort of mushing it. And I'm going to tidy up my end, make it easier to turn inside out. And I'm going to tidy up any threads as well. And I can get rid of that string now. I don't need it anymore. It's done its job. So what I'm left with is the makings of a scrunchie. I'm going to just tease those out with my fingers, no reason. Alright, one end. If you push both your fingers in, you should have a flat edge there. I'm going to take the other edge and I'm just going to place it inside, and if I have to do it twice, I have to do it twice. And I'm going to get it so that I've got it as tidy as possible and all the loose edges are in. Got my sewing machine here, very carefully, and place it underneath the foot. Now, because we're working with, well, 4 layers of quite thick fabric, we do have to be aware that your machine might say that its foot's not down. And when the foot is up, it disconnects the bobbin tensioner. So sometimes it can be a bit upset. There's no reason why it can't sew quite thick fabric, especially if it's quite a loose weave like this. So let me just thread the machine. Oh, it's not my favourite thing. I seem to be saying that a lot today. So put the foot down, even if the foot has got nowhere to go. I've done a couple of stitches just to get it started, and then I can get it going. Lovely. And it's literally going over the seams as well as the fabric. So it's well stitched now, and then you have to get it out of the machine. There we are. And tidy up all these loose threads. You know, it's the difference between making something look professional and just sort of bodging. It's that finishing touch that makes it all very, very good. Lovely. So that's that done. Now, the bunny ears. Now, because I've just gone from quite a large stitch, and now I'm going to go to quite a small stitch, I'm going to tighten up my bobbin slightly. Now, right sides together, and I'm sewing the leaf shape back in. I'm going to sew down to where it comes down, and I'm going to do a couple of reverse stitches. I'm going to take it out, and then I'm going to start sewing again there. Now, if I lower the thread down, then it won't pull the fabric too much. It will pull the fabric slightly, but it won't sort of jab it. Okay, so I'm just coming to the end now. And again, we need to, I'm going to cut this middle thread because it's only going to be difficult for me. So what we're left with, we need to turn inside out. And we still have our knitting needle here, so we can just use that. It's a good idea to get the corners as pointy as possible. And in fact, what I'm going to do is very carefully and gently with the sharpy pointy bit is just pop them. So, and then again, the other side. So very gently with the sharpy pointy bit, just pop it again. So, and then twizzle out the seams with your fingers. So again, I need to push these two ends in, and it just literally is, you sort of roll them with your fingers. So one side's going in very easily, so I'm going to put that side at the bottom. I'm placing it underneath my sewing machine, and I can keep an eye on it from the side that's being a bit more difficult. And then every couple of inches, just adjusting it so that I know that I'm sewing. Okay, so that's now hemmed. And what we're left with, and it's probably best just to loosely tie this over the actual seam of the scrunchie. So I'm squeezing that out again so that I've got the seam halfway. I'm covering that seam, and all I'm going to do is very loosely pull those through like that and then adjust it. Have the knot at the back. I do need to do a couple more threads just on that bow, and there we are. So we have bunny ears on a scrunchie, and already, yeah, it's kind of got that 50s look to it, which I kind of love. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee. Please like, share and subscribe. Thank you.